Happy Sunday, and welcome everyone to episode 28 of Video Game Club. A very special episode, as this will be the second episode of our new series, Side Quest. So it's the 28th and the second. Kind of weird to think about. If you aren't familiar with Side Quest is similar to Video Game Club, except it's a much longer game played over several weeks. Now let's begin. I'm Tyler, and I have with me today the one and only Mr. Become as Gods, Austin.
Oh no. Hello.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Video Game Club meeting without the wonderful, superb, 2B's best friend, Mox.
I just have so many great best friends. I just love it.
And back from his hiatus, from the deepest, darkest depths of the internet, Pascal's biggest fan, Chris.
Oh, I'll take that very gladly and wear that badge with pride.
Oh. As I mentioned before, this is Video Game Club, where every 2 weeks we discuss a game voted on by our wonderful friends in the Bombchu Discord and discuss that game right here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV. And if you can't catch us live, don't worry, you can find us on YouTube. Just search Bombchu. Don't worry, it'll come up. You'll see it. It's there. Now, before landing on Nier Automata for Side Quest, we had a vote in the Bombchu Discord, like we do with everything, and it was between Nier Automata, Wind Waker, and Ghost of Tsushima, and the people voted, and it landed on Nier. Now, one other thing about Side Quest that should be said is that because it's a much longer game, this episode's going to be a little bit different. Usually we go pretty far into detail on the plot and development, and a little history of the game and overview and stuff, and it won't be quite as detailed as so that we can leave time to discuss like our thoughts about the game. The other thing is that I'm going to put the spoiler tag on right now, so if you don't want spoilers for this game, if you plan on playing it, I would go play the game, then come back.
Go play it right now. Pause the video.
Do it.
But yeah, this one will be pretty full of spoilers because it's a very long game and we want to be able to freely talk about all of it. This game took roughly, I don't know, 40 hours, probably. 30? 20?
It was like 20 to 25 for me.
Oh
Okay.
my god. Well, whatever.
It took you 70 hours?
I did
Mox?
like every side
Mox went and
quest
did all
and
the
walked
side quests.
around
Yeah.
and talked to I love talking to people.
That's true. That is
People
true.
are overrated.
Nope. Yeah, people are
Just in
overrated.
general.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right, now let's jump in and start talking about Nier Automata. So Nier Automata, or Automata, if you want to be like that, is
If
an
you want to be some kind of jerk.
is an
Mata,
action
automata.
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 It's an
Automata.
You're saying automata.
I don't know. What's Automata you?
Sorry.
It's an action RPG developed by Platinum Games, published by Square Enix. Same as
Square.
our last side quest game, Dragon Quest, also published by Square Enix. It was released on PS4, February 23rd, 2017 in Japan, and it came to North America for PS4 March 7th, 2017, and for some reason, it came 10 days later to PC for whatever reason. And then it had an Xbox One release almost a little over a year later on June 26, 2018. Now, what was going on in 2017 in North America? Well, we had the Switch, the SNES Classic,
Yeah.
the new 2DS XL,
Oh boy.
and the Xbox One X, and probably some other hardware. Software, of course, we had Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Star Fox 2, Persona 5, Divinity Original Sin 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, PUBG, and 2 Video Game Club games. Can we guess them?
Oh.
I
Night in
always
the
guessed
Woods?
Axiom Verge and I'm never right.
Oh, Chris, what'd you say?
Night in the Woods.
Night in the Woods, yep.
No!
Not. Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The other
what
one,
was the other one? Fury?
no, Big House, first person,
Edith Finch.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
and also What Remains of Edith Finch. The engine that they used for this game is an in-house engine, and it's actually the engine that they use is actually supposed to be geared towards PC. And we'll, which,
Okay.
What is
if you can
that?
believe that.
Oh.
No.
Hey, they
Oh.
patched it this year, a whole 4 years
This
later.
week.
This
they
week.
patched it this week.
They patched it
Very
on
awesome.
Thursday.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The
Believe
first
it.
patch it's gotten.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I was just as shocked as you guys were. We're not going to
I guess I
dive
should
into
patch
the. What'd you say, Mox?
I guess I should patch my game. I forgot
Yeah,
about it.
you should. But sorry, if you're using the mod that Chris, what was it called?
The FAR mod. You will have to uninstall FAR if you want to play on the
Oh.
latest patch.
Yeah. We're not going to go into the history of Platinum Games or Square Enix because we would be here forever. So let's just jump into a little overview of Nier Automata. It's an action RPG, like we mentioned before, where you take the role of combat androids from the Yorha units across an open world environment. You navigate this open world mostly on foot, but you also control a flying mech during certain scenarios. Also has some light platforming elements as well. And at different points, the gameplay kind of changes to reflect like a text adventure in some parts, like a shooter, like a bullet hell shooter. Some parts, it kind of goes all over the place. The camera shifts from third person perspective. Uh-oh. Okay, never mind. Might have to, we have some guinea pigs that are behaving kind of badly today, so if you hear them, I apologize.
With the black bar.
But the camera shifts from third person to side scrolling, and there's side quests in the game, and you can purchase items and equipment. Most of the combat is like hack and slash, action based, where you fight enemies in real time. You have like a light and heavy attack, and you also have you can also evade and counter, and then you have a pod that's like this flying robot that can do a ranged attack for you. And I don't know about you guys, but I heavily used the pod.
Yes.
What's the pot?
I did at the beginning. As the game kind of went on, I stopped using it more and more.
I relied on it pretty heavily whenever I was whenever I was on a melee character.
Yeah, same. That was like mainly how I played. Each character has a different style. Speaking of characters, the initial lead character, 2B, is an attacker with 2 melee weapons. Then there's another protagonist, 9S. He has only 1 weapon, and then he specializes in hacking, which I'm sure we'll go into detail because it's really fun. And then there's also A2, who's very similar to 2B, but they have a special ability that allows you to boost their attack power. But it sacrifices health, and I hate that power, and I thought it was really dumb, and I'm sure we'll talk
Never
about
used
that.
it past the one time I had to.
I
Yeah.
forgot. How do you use it? How do you remember?
You,
Click it, both sticks.
Just some button combination, and
I think,
then you're just doomed.
Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
well, you were playing on mouse and keyboard, Mox, so I'm not sure what.
Whoa,
Oh,
whoa! I
okay.
played with a key. I'm sorry, I played with a controller.
Okay.
Remember we were
So
talking on
this
my
game you
Steam
played with a
link.
controller.
On my
But
Steam link.
the rest of the games that should be played with a controller. Okay, just making sure.
It's because
So-
it was on Steam.
Apologize for the assumption, but when I heard Bastion was played with mouse and keyboard, I had to.
I didn't have the controller unpacked. I'm sorry. That's very bad.
No worries. As you progress, you gain experience levels, which increase, and you can increase your health, defense, attack power. There's also customization through these things called chips. Did you guys use those quite a bit? Mess around
Oh,
with
yeah.
that system?
That was the best part.
You can
Yeah,
have different builds.
yeah, and as soon as I could buy more storage
Yes.
for chips, I
Oh, yeah.
I went for that instantly.
I sat and grinded out catching fish until I had maximum chip storage.
Oh,
Catch.
nice. Nice.
I did not catch a single fish.
I caught one fish. I thought the chip storage was only like purchasable. Or are you saying you did that for money so you could
For
buy
money,
them all?
yeah.
Oh wow.
Because the fish sell for quite a bit, and I also liked the fishing game, even though I told Austin at one point I did fall asleep while fishing. Because it was just so relaxing with the music and the sound of the water. And
Yeah. Did you fish in the like sewer area?
no, I only ever did the fishing for that one area right outside of the camp, and then
Okay.
I never did fishing again.
But you can get a weapon, you can get a new pod, you have to fish in different areas.
I couldn't
Yeah.
catch anything. I tried fishing for a minute or two and nothing ever bit, and I was just like, I guess I don't know how to fish, so I quit fishing for the rest of the game.
Whatever. No
It's-
fishing for me.
Is this the same Austin who loved the fishing in Sonic Adventure?
Oh god.
If you can figure out that system, you can figure out this for sure.
They show you the fish, you can see them.
Oh my gosh.
And here it's just like, take a guess. Is it working? I don't know.
No, it's when the pod goes underwater. That's all
Yeah.
there
It
is
never
to
went
it.
underwater.
Well, you suck at fishing.
You were just a terrible fisherman.
Yeah.
Apparently.
If the player character dies, you respawn at a previous save point, and you go back and you can find your original body and retrieve your items and experience, or you can
Chips.
attempt to repair it. I always would just grab my stuff, so I don't know what happens if your repair is unsuccessful.
I was
Oh.
worried that if I repaired my own corpse that I would not get my chips back,
Yeah.
so I always just retrieved it.
Yeah, same. I know that you do find, if you have online features enabled, you do find bodies of other players, which can be retrieved or revived, and when you revive them, they turn into your friend initially, and then towards the end, they become jerks and
Oh.
a-holes.
Oh, do they?
I didn't
Yes.
know
So yeah, after the I guess we're all in all spoiler territory.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
go
After
crazy.
the virus infects all the Yorha units in Route C when you do the ground assault, if you repair any units, then they turn against you, and you have
Dude,
to fight.
what?
them.
And they're
Yeah.
super tough.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow.
wow. I
It's
was
a-
just eating them for health at that point.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
super nice little touch. Every once in a while, I would forget, and like for a
Same.
boss fight, I'd be like, "Oh, here, let me repair this as a nice little bullet sponge ally."
that's
And
super
oh
cool.
no, I've created another enemy.
Yep. I did the exact same thing, and I died several times because of that. Because I was
that. Oh
like,
my gosh.
I want help fighting this enemy, and I was like, oh yeah, I can repair. And then I was like, no, I can't. No. Yeah, and lastly, like Automata features 26 different endings, one for each letter of the alphabet. The 5 main endings are letters A to E, which we all got A to E, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And the 21 additional endings are F through Z, and these additional endings are just game over events that are triggered by certain actions. I know I got one where because I started off as 9S and I didn't move quick enough because I was kind of exploring because I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I didn't think you would be able to play as him, and I got a game over because I was helping the robots. And it just like fast forwarded through the credits. It was like I think
Yeah.
it was M.
Yeah. I got one because you had to go, like, when you were at Pascal's village and something was happening in the forest, and then you had to leave Pascal's village. I was like, wait, I'm not done here yet. And so I was like, doing my thing. And then they're like, why didn't you save the people?
I had one. I was looking at the chips that I had equipped, and you have one of your chips is the OS chip, and it says removal means death, and I was like, oh yeah, bet, let's go. So I took it out and I died, and I got a game over.
That's awesome. Did you have any weird surprise endings, Austin?
I did not. I was too, when I went in, I didn't understand how the ending system worked, and so, I was kind of worried about, getting an ending that reflected, my personality, my playstyle. So I was trying to, be very thoughtful about what I was doing while I was playing. And then it turns out that really that has no effect. So I kind of wish I had bummed around to look for some of the weirder joke endings, but I do like that you can remove really crucial chips that, or be like, I don't need sound. Let's remove the sound chip.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's pretty cool.
I know that when Pascal asks for your help, if you're like, nah, I don't want to help you, game over is there too, and that's another.
Oh,
ending.
okay.
Who wouldn't help Pascal?
I know.
Seriously. All right, let's dive into the plot, but I mean, we can go into detail, but it's
so
kind
much
of
to say.
it's kind of long. So,
There's a lot.
Where are you gonna start? Oh my gosh.
all right,
At the beginning.
At the
where
beginning.
all
It
starts
things
Which
start.
beginning?
It
So
starts
Nier
with Drake and
The
Gar.
beginning.
Nier Automata shares the post-apocalyptic setting of Nier. It taking place thousands of years after the game's 4th ending. And I just want to say, Austin said that we did not need to have played
And
Nier
I was
Replicant.
correct.
I concur.
It's set in the year 11,945 AD. The story revolves around a proxy war between the human-made androids and the machine army of invaders from another world. Lacking both emotions and true names, androids have particular attitudes that distinguish them from their fellows. The Yorha android forces are commanded from the bunker, which is a base in orbit above Earth. They fight alongside the pre-Yorha androids on Earth, known as the Resistance, to drive back the machines. The initial protagonist, who we kind of already mentioned before, is 2B, short for Yorha number 2, type B. It's a combat android whose main traits are her calm and composure. 2B is accompanied by 9S, which is short for number 9, type S, a male scanner android who displays more emotion than the other Yorha units. Eventually, another playable character is introduced, which we kind of already talked about, A2, who is an obsolete attack android with a really interesting personality who often chooses to act alone. There's also... Yeah, is it important to talk about the androids?
Just, I don't know, where are you starting? Where are you ending?
I'm gonna start just going over. So the first and second playthroughs follow the views of 2B and 9S during an initial invasion. After opening a route for future missions, they are sent to clear out machine threats for the Resistance, who provides the two with support. During their missions, 2B and 9S discover that the machines are exploring human societies and concepts. So the two work with a pacifist machine group led by Pascal. They battle Adam and Eve, which are physical manifestations of the machine network, who reveal that their creators were destroyed centuries ago, and encounter A2, a rogue android on the run from Yorha.
You've missed the moon.
The moon?
The humans exist on the moon, and the whole reason that the androids, the Yorha units are doing anything is because they're trying to retake Earth from the machines, and the machines were created by aliens that visited the Earth thousands of years ago. And so the whole point is that the Yorha are trying to make Earth habitable for the humans that live on.
For the glory of mankind.
For the glory of mankind. Yep. Yes. Sorry. The moon. It is important.
Yes.
This part is important.
Supplies are being sent up from Earth to the moon, in rockets that you'll see going up all the time.
Yeah.
And
they make a point of that more than once.
Yeah, we get transmissions. Thank you, brave Yorha robots, for fighting for the humans that are here on the moon.
The Council of Humanity's up there making decisions.
Yeah. I was getting there, Mox, but I was going to explain the rest of this first. No, yeah, it is important. So Adam and Eve. Adam is killed by 2B after Adam captures 9S. And during his recuperation, 9S discovers a glitch in Yorha servers when syncing himself and 2B, and learns that humanity was extinct long before the alien invasion. So yeah, that's not cool.
The way you learn is they're saying that the Council of Humanity is a division of Yorha, and they were like, isn't that backwards? Which was such a small thing, but I remembered, and then later we learned, no,
you find the shipping
real.
logs of all the rockets going to the moon,
all the
and they're
rockets
just
are empty.
But
they're just for show.
It becomes
all a charade.
It becomes clear early on that Yorha and the commander are lying to you. You just don't know what about.
Yeah, and
it's kind of slowly unveiled throughout the course of the game, the extent and scope of this lie.
Yeah, it's just some myth that they made up, right, to give the androids something to fight for.
Well, do you want to go into what replicants are now, or are we waiting?
Go ahead.
Well, so there was I guess I won't. I deliberately didn't start playing Replicant yet because I didn't want to reveal more than is, what is it, Automata. But in Automata, we learned that there was some illness that affected all the humans. I'm saying it that way. And
the Gestalt virus? Whatever it's called?
No.
Logic virus, right?
No, that's in this one.
White chlorination syndrome.
That's what it was, yeah.
And we also learned that came about in the same time that this thing called the Maso particle came about. And while one was killing humans, the white chlorination syndrome, the Maso particle that researchers realized could be used to create a system that will separate a human soul from the human body, with the idea being that the souls could be stored somewhere else while they fix the white chlorination syndrome from the human bodies. And then the souls didn't like being separated, so they put them into gestalts, and then the gestalts got ill or something like that. This is more explained in Gestalt, not in Automata. And then So they were making androids, and then the androids kind of didn't do anything because they didn't know what they were doing. They just felt like lifeless. So they created the myth of humans being alive because the androids just otherwise were just like had no reason to live.
Yeah, if the androids have something to hope for, even if it's a lie, they will continue to function. If they don't have something to strive for, then they just kind of stop.
Yeah. Which is, and then, yeah, that's like the whole, I mean, that's like the main, that's why you believe when you're playing, though, that these humans exist, like we mentioned before. And
it's just kind of messed up that, like, that the whole driving purpose that they have is so tied to them dying repeatedly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, why? Couldn't they come up with some other kind of purpose?
They live to die. That's what 2B
Death
says.
is one heck of a motivator.
I know.
Everything that lives is designed to end. You're perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death.
So
at that point, just let everything die.
let's talk a little bit about the logic virus.
Yep.
So Eve. So you kill Adam, and whenever you kill Adam, Eve goes mad with grief, drives the machines under his command into a frenzy. 2B and 9S kill Eve to end the rampage, but 9S becomes infected with Eve's logic virus, which I don't really remember that much about, like, what specifically that virus does. Mox, did you read about the logic virus?
Well, it wasn't that important to me, so I didn't register it. What are you getting
What
at?
the logic virus is really doesn't matter. It's just you need to know that it's bad.
Yeah, and it exists, I guess. That's kind of
the androids are infected, they go crazy. They lose control.
And so what happens is 9S he becomes infected, which he basically tells 2B to kill him. However, once 2B kills him, 9S's consciousness survives within the local machine network. You see all the lights,
Yes, I love
all the eyes light up. And then doesn't he hold her, like, in his hand?
Yeah, he picks her up.
As one of the big machines.
Does a whole, like, King Kong sort of.
Iron Giant.
Yeah, Iron Giant, yeah. So then, after you do those 2 playthroughs, you have a third playthrough. The third playthrough begins as Yorha launches a full-scale invasion.
Because you found out that the aliens are all dead.
Yep.
And the machines are now crippled with the defeat of Adam and Eve.
And look, the whole, they say playthroughs, which is, I think, a bad term, because every time that I talk to somebody about this game, now that I know about it, they're like, I have to play the game 5 times? And it's like, no. Really, you play the game once.
Yeah.
Like, there's one section that you play twice, where you play it once as 2B and once as 9S.
But even then, though, you're not really playing it twice because a lot of it's cut out.
You're playing a separate game. Like, you're seeing the same events from a different character's perspective. It's a different gameplay style. There's a lot more detail in the cutscenes that you were missing out. Like, you're getting a much more detailed story there. So it's not really the same. That's the closest there is to there being a repeat playthrough of something.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not. So basically, you'll hit an ending and then continue on into the story. So it's not like replaying the game over and over again, like you might see in some other games with multiple endings.
It's sort of like finishing an episode versus finishing a season.
Yes.
Each letter ending is like the end of an episode, and then getting to ending E is the end of the season.
That's a good way.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Each ending introduces like different ways to play the game, different characters, different chips, different enemies, and the difficulty continues to increase. So
oh boy,
really
does it!
It does increase quite a bit.
And when I hit ending C, that was a big spike in difficulty for me.
Yes. Were you underleveled?
I was massively underleveled when I started playthrough C. It was
I think I was underleveled by like 3 levels, which still was tough. So
I was under by like 10.
Whew.
Yeah.
10 or 15 probably.
That would have been very difficult.
It was. I had to go grind for quite a bit.
So in the third playthrough, the logic virus. Okay, so Yorha launches a full-scale invasion. A logic virus attack enabled by the glitch that 9S previously discovered corrupts every Yorha unit, including those in the bunker, except for 2B and the restored 9S. So this is why I'm assuming whenever you restore people, that's why they attack you instead.
Yeah, because they were all connected as part of the network.
Yeah.
And they were all backed up on the bunker.
2B and 9S are separated, and 2B is infected with the logic virus. 2B is discovered by A2, who is the rogue unit that you met before. 2B uploads her memories into her sword and asks for A2 to look after 9S. And then 9S sees A2 kill 2B, and basically is like no.
9S gets a nice little brain snap there, and
which I don't like.
Kind of goes off.
That was
Yeah, it was kind of nuts. Then at the same time, a tower created by the machines rises from the land. Wait. I missed a part, didn't I?
No, that's right. I mean, you're just skipping kind of useless.
Yeah, so
fighting.
you basically like you play as A2 and 9S for like a bit, and you just do like missions and stuff like that. And in my experience, like the A2 sections were extremely difficult. And it was
not being able to hack is like
hacking is a pretty strong way to take care of enemies.
Yeah.
No matter what level they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this tower comes up. You do a bunch of stuff as A2 and 9S, and then eventually you climb this tower, right?
Both of them converge on the tower at different times, with 9S like tracking A2 to avenge.
Yeah. And then
9S's whole motivation now is he wants to kill every single last machine and then kill A2. And then he's not thinking past that point. Every machine needs to die and A2 needs to die, and that's all that matters to him anymore.
So is there anything you guys want to cover before we get to the big fight at the end? Is there any big thing that happens?
Yes.
Oh, go.
Well, you're reading the tower is like a collection of all of the information that existed on Earth that the robots, the machines just collected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And read and learned about humanity. And in doing so, you learned that there was kind of like, I guess, like outside of the game, there are all these like symphonies, and so you learn more about like who made that back door. But someone made a back door that basically was like, at the end of some point, the robots, I keep saying robots, the androids are just designed to eventually just collapse and everybody dies, and that ends this whole like conflict of living and dying. And that's kind of where the logic virus came into it, I guess.
Yeah, Yorha and the androids in general were built to fail at some point. They were always going to fail.
Because it was pointless. If all the humans were dead, why keep up with this, back and forth? And then you also learned that 2B is not a B unit, but she's an E unit, an exterminating unit. And her whole job was to kill 9S over and over again. Yeah. And so you learn kind of at the end of the first ending, she goes like, why does it always have to end this way, when she kills 9S because he's infected with the logic virus, and you don't really understand what that means until
it's like, well, this has only ever happened once before this, so why is she so sad? But no, this has happened a lot, and that's her whole entire existence is just killing off 9S as he learns too much.
I totally missed that.
Oh.
It's one of the documents that you get from, I think, the library or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 9S units were always designed to be too smart and always end up figuring out too much information. And the 2B unit is actually a 2E that's always designed to kill him when he finds out too much.
And then in the symphonies, like, they describe an episode in which 9S realizes, he remembers from a past life that 2B is 2E, and he still goes forward with their mission knowing that 2E will kill him. And then she's like, why would you go through it? Because I know I have to kill you, but I enjoy the time that we're together. And he's like, because we're together, that's why I enjoy it, that's why I go through it every time. Just like tears everywhere.
Oh.
Anyway, keep going.
So you eventually go into this tower, you find out all that information. There's this big boss that you fight, and it's a really cool boss fight because you're taking turns as 9S and A2, and you're fighting it simultaneously almost, which is really really cool.
Two halves of the same
Yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
That was really cool. There's this character from the first game shows up in the lore somewhere, but
A couple of them, yeah.
Yona, yeah.
and Emil as well.
Yeah. We learned more about him too.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Okay.
His sisters were also from the first one, right?
Yeah, I think
Devil
so.
and Popola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gets up to the top of the tower. 9S is angry, and A2 is like they're having this like almost like standoff. It looks like you're about to do like a Street Fighter Mortal Kombat fight.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
And you have to choose which one that you pick, like whose side that you side with. 9S, he just wants everything gone, basically, and A2 wants to save 9S, right? Because
It's worth noting that 9S is also infected with the logic virus at this point.
Yeah.
And he's about to lose complete control.
And I think A2 at this point has also like kind of taken on some of 2B's memories and a bit
started
of
to take the
personality.
personality, starting to lose their self.
She even like chops off her long hair, and so it's a little closer to 2B's hairstyle.
Yeah.
And like 2B, or rather A2 knows, like has read all this information and put it together, and also talked to some like AI that run the tower and kind of like understands the story of like everything is meant to be destroyed. So she's kind of like, why are you so angry? Nice.
So you pick an ending. You do either 9S or A2. Then you pick the other one. And then after that, that's when you get ending E, right?
Yes.
Basically it's like, well, both of these were really sad endings. What if there was a chance at something happier?
And so you have to fight the game itself.
And that's when a pod says the title of the game, which is Nier Automata.
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 And yeah, so how do you destroy the game? There's like a sequence where you're like shooting the credits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Sort of a Star Fox kind of thing.
Yeah. Like at that really awesome game, Star Fox.
The one that everybody likes.
I don't like bullet hells either, which is what this was.
During that sequence, you can ask for help.
Well, the
eventually,
credits intentionally ramp up difficulty such that it becomes nearly, I would have said entirely, but apparently someone beat it. It becomes nearly impossible to beat it without asking for help.
And like the game is slowly like, it starts out as, do you want to try again? And then it's like,
yeah.
Do you want to give up here? Is this really worth continuing? And then it keeps getting worse and worse until it's finally, would you like to ask for help?
Yep. And when you ask for help, a bunch of other players, essentially, not exactly, but
yeah, they are. I mean, if you have the digital features turned on,
Yeah.
then you get like the players, quote unquote, that help you.
It shows
to
you
see
their
their
name
quotes.
and their message. Yeah.
And where
They're from.
And then at the end, you can choose to delete your whole save file and
To help support somebody else.
Because then you find out that all those people that helped you were people that gave up their entire save file.
yeah.
And it's,
Which is just lovely.
do you want to do the same for other people?
And I'm assuming everyone here sacrificed their save
No.
data.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
no,
did,
of course
but I
not.
thought Chris didn't.
No.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I
What?
didn't give
Oh,
I
that's
didn't give
right.
up my save file. That's cool that those other people were willing to make sacrifices, but I got side quests to do.
Oh my God.
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
I know I'm never going to do those side quests now that I'm done with the game. So it was my way of just having closure. It's over. It's done. And that's a good feeling.
I
It is.
agree. I mean, I gave up my save file, but I had read this thing on Reddit that was like, here's what you need to know before you play this game. And it was like, when you get to the ending E, you know, you'll know when it's there and you'll have to make the choice. You know, it's like, first of all, make sure that you have network features turned on. Second of all, you might want to, you don't have to, back up your save file somewhere else on your desktop. Don't ask why. And then it was like, you know, make sure you're not an asshole when you click these buttons. And I thought that was really funny.
Mox, I think you need to delete your backed up save file.
I never used it, and I'll delete it right now. Okay, I'll drag it over
just for
to the
that real true moment.
there.
You know,
happening live on
Just
stream
now.
right here.
Alright.
Yes, it's gone. I never opened it, and I'm happy to delete it because
Hell
like
yeah.
you said, it's such a nice moment. I don't know,
Yeah.
a great end to the game.
Yeah,
and
I'm still keeping mine.
It plays it out like it really goes through every bit of your save file and deletes each piece of it in front of you. Like, okay, here's all of your chips that we're going to remove those. Here's all of your side quests. We're going to remove those.
Yep.
Here's all of your, like, it goes through every menu and deletes everything that you have in the game one by one to really give you that feeling of like, oh my god, what have I done?
And yeah, I opened where I pulled the save file before, and it was gone. It was just empty file. I couldn't believe it. It was like reminded me of Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a summary
And then once you beat the credits, you get the final
ending,
future hope message ending.
which is the good ending.
Yes.
Quote unquote. Good
Yeah.
ending.
The potential for good ending.
Yeah.
Well, you get to choose in one of the endings if 9S sends off the if he goes with the rocket of the information in the library to the moon.
Oh,
or
yeah.
goes
Oh, yeah.
to space to float around.
Yeah, you
If he
find out
goes-
the whole point of the rocket is that the machines have also given up. The intelligent machines have also given up on Earth and are sending their memories to join the human genome code that's being stored on the moon. That's the whole point of the rocket.
Yeah.
which is so sweet.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it's,
Soma vibes.
oh
you're right.
man.
I know. Don't think about that. In the good ending, I believe they send the robot. I'm sorry, I keep saying robot. I do not know. What
You guys remember in Soma when Austin
rocket.
killed that robot because he's a jerk? You guys remember that?
I didn't know that I could not.
Go back and watch the Soma episode if you haven't, because
Great episode.
we really shame Austin for being a jerk.
Well, he wasn't the jerk in this game. It was Chris.
Well,
And
yeah.
you to a certain extent.
Yeah. So that is, the plot of Nier Automata in a nutshell, as we remember it, at least. Now let's talk really quick. Gonna speed through this about the development and reception. Just gonna go over some of the highlights. So, as you guys may or may not know, whenever Nier, which got renamed to Nier Replicant, was released, it actually did not sell very well at all.
Shocking.
But
Really?
but it did have a very positive fan reception though. The people that did buy it really liked it. And Square Enix was very hesitant to produce this game, but they talked and talked and talked, and they ended up brainstorming about how if the game was maybe more action oriented, that maybe it would sell a bit better. And so because of that, they contacted Platinum Games, which had a very good reputation for developing high quality action games such as Bayonetta and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
And Astral Chain.
Yeah, and Astral Chain.
What's wrong with Astral Chain?
Star Fox
Oh
Zero.
my
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Legends of Korra.
Oh my god.
Sorry, keep going.
no, it it was an interesting collaboration because the director of the game, Yoko Taro, had to move from Tokyo to Osaka, where Platinum Games was located. That was one of the conditions on them signing the deal, that Platinum Games would develop this.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because they wanted to make sure that he was present to help with production. However, Yoko Taro, he like does freelance stuff apparently, and so like they struggled a bit getting him in there, but they worked it out and were able
He
to
is
get
a
him.
weird guy.
Yeah.
As if anybody else could make Nier.
Now I'm gonna
Yeah.
say some stuff that I was reading. And I was like, this cannot be true. The original plan was to make this game for mobile or PS Vita, and
Oh, God.
they intended for it to be similar to farming simulator game Farmville.
There's a farming part
It-
of Replicant.
It has to be a troll, right? Like, there's no way there's.
I mean, there's a mobile game for it now.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it, but
But can you imagine going from mobile to be like, no, let's make it for PS4, and let's not make
and
it.
make it a full-on action
Yeah.
game.
If Yoko Taro had anything to do with any part of that decision, I wouldn't be surprised because he is a guy.
Yeah.
The development team of Nier Automata also included a lot of the original staff from the original Nier, which is pretty cool. During the production, the team took into account a lot of fan and critic feedback, which shaped the game, especially the character designs. That was
like slutty, but cute or something, like Lolita kind of.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be some kind of significance brought up
Yes.
on that, like, later in the game, and it just never came.
No,
And I
Yoko
was
Taro
like,
just
what
thought
was
they
the
looked cool.
I tried to go look it up online, like, what was the significance that I was missing? Because I guess I'm just stupid. And then it was like, no, Yoko Taro just likes sexy girls.
Yeah, he
Oh my
thought
God.
they looked neat.
We have to look at Kaine in the new one. I don't even know how her top is supported on her bust. Just,
magic.
apparently. Or
They
that's
also
broad.
carried over aspects that were well received with the original, such as the complexity of the story and the game's music as well. They took a lot of inspiration from The Witcher 3 when making this
What?
game, as far
Really?
as with the design of the side quests. But they never felt like they would ever be able to match it, but they tried their best. And they also took inspiration from the Castlevania series during the sections where it was like a side scroller. For the combat system, the team took the systems used in the original Nier and infused elements from other Platinum games, which you guys, I'm sure, all would. If you're familiar with Platinum, you definitely picked up on that.
If you've played Bayonetta, the combat here will feel immediately familiar.
Yep.
Same thing with
Yeah.
Metal Gear Rising.
And the game was supposed to have a co-op mode and a PvP mode, but they never got beyond the concept phase. But originally they were suggested, and that would have been
Good.
really interesting.
There was a few
No.
times I was thinking of how cool would a co-op mode of this be, but also it would be way too easy.
I feel like if somebody could take control of your pod, maybe?
Yeah,
That would be cool.
that
yeah.
would be
That would be-
awesome.
You just have to claw grip the controller or tape down your firing button. That's it. That's all you need.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. This game,
I did have to play this with like 6 fingers
Yes.
at any given time.
it demands a lot out of your fingers. This game.
Yeah, you need some good finger dexterity and the ability. You need to be. What fighting game players use weird grips? Like the Tekken players.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to have.
Yeah.
You have to have
So-
some
someone-
dexterous reach.
Someone gifted me an Xbox Elite controller, and
Oh.
it
ooh,
was super nice for this game because then I was able to use those paddles on the back for doing like the shooting and some of the
Oh.
other stuff. So that was really nice, and definitely showed me a good use case for that feature.
pro tip, for sure.
But they also have like for the the mobility impaired, they have chips that you can install that make it easy and turn on like auto fire or
Yeah.
auto heal.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
if
have
you
to be
need
playing
to-
on easy mode, but yeah,
But there is some
Which I did not
accessibility
use.
there.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to just experience the story, like you definitely don't have to deal with the difficulty of the combat.
Yeah. So, how did it review? Well, it got generally favorable reviews, 7s, 8s, and 9s. People really liked that it was a good blend of action and RPG. A lot of people kind of considered it like the spiritual successor of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I haven't played it, but some people.
Yes, a lot of similar gameplay, obviously, but also the loftier themes of the story. Obviously, are not taken quite as seriously in Metal Gear Rising, but they're still there.
Yeah. People really praised the narrative, the graphics, and the sense of scale. Some things that people didn't really like were the customization. They thought it was quite cumbersome. Some people didn't really enjoy the side quests. They also thought some of the mechanics were a bit obtuse, the pacing, and the combat depth. I can really see the combat depth for sure, and I can also see whenever I first started playing this, and maybe I know Austin, you experienced a little bit of this too. When you first start, you're like, you don't really know what kind of game it is because
It took me a very long time to figure out because it keeps switching genres and like gameplay styles.
yes.
And anytime I'd be like, okay, it's this kind of game, it'd be like, nope, we're gonna flip the switch on you and
yeah,
at just a moment's notice. And I mean, it did these different genres very well,
yes,
Yeah.
but it made it very hard to define going in, especially when everyone's like, don't look at spoilers and I can't describe what the game is to you, haha.
yeah. It was nominated and won several awards. It sold almost 200,000 copies its first week in Japan, which already made it more successful than the original Nier. And it just slowly ramped up over and over. Like every year, it was getting more and more units sold. By July, of 2021, it sold over 6 million units.
Cool.
Good.
Because it exceeded Square Enix expectation, it basically made them consider Nier as like a franchise and like something they want to support in the future, which is really interesting. It also was cited as a reason for saving Platinum Games and restoring confidence in them as a developer, because I guess they had a cold streak before this.
They had done that Legends of Korra game, which was not very good. They had done Star Fox Zero, which was not regarded very well. And then they had done that terrible Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah.
And a lot of their good games that they had been doing were locked on the Wii U.
Yeah. Bayonetta 2,
so
Wonderful
those were obviously
101.
not going to sell well.
And so I would say like it has become a franchise, because didn't we get like there was a new game that came out?
Well, a remaster of the old game
Came out.
and
And-
now there's like a full-on mobile title that they've put out.
Yeah,
That
that's what I was thinking of.
And it had a crossover event with Final Fantasy XIV, if you are wondering.
Oh.
And Soul Calibur.
Oh.
Oh god, that's right.
2B was a character in Soul Calibur, whichever version.
As if they need her, like they already have Ivy. Come on.
Yeah.
Both.
So yeah, that was Nier Automata, a little history. We've spent a lot of time talking about that, but don't worry, it's side quests. So everyone, make sure you take your time to say your thoughts about this game, and let's start with you, Chris.
Oh gosh. So, this was a game I've been wanting to check out for a long time and managed to stay unspoiled. I didn't know about the concept of the multiple endings, different perspectives, all that kind of stuff. All I knew coming into this was a sci-fi RPG made by Platinum, so it's probably going to have combat, and that it's got some lofty themes about existence. So I was like, alright, this sounds right up my alley. I'll get to it sometime in the next decade.
Mhm.
Having finally played it, it met and exceeded every single one of my expectations.
Ooh.
This game, I already knew it was going to be good, and this game still somehow managed to blow me away.
Was there any like favorite part that stood out or anything, or
I remember
like what made it really shine for you?
the whole first A playthrough is pretty standard. Like, if it had just released as like that game, it would have been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you start getting into the B playthrough and you start seeing things from the other side of what 9S is doing, and then also little things start changing that you may or may not notice.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you get to the final boss fight against Eve in playthrough B, I think it is.
Ooh, yeah.
It shows the two little girls as holograms.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure I spotted them also earlier in the hangar on the bunker before you come down here, but I was like, I ran through there too quick, so I was like, maybe I was just seeing things, but it gets to that point, and I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely not seeing things now. They're definitely standing there. Who's that? But yeah, I think by the time I got to the end of that B playthrough, and the story by that point had me completely hooked. I didn't know fully what was going on, but I was ready to learn, and that story just goes to places that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Definitely the hardest point for me was the decision with Pascal. I labored over that decision for a long time, not knowing whether or not to kill Pascal myself or just wipe his memories. I ended up just wiping his memories, which was pretty rough as well.
Yeah.
But in the end, it seems kind of like a good ending for Pascal, because with his memories wiped, we know the machines are doomed to repeat themselves.
Yeah.
But in a new world without the war, maybe Pascal repeating himself won't end as poorly as it did last time.
Mm.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's hope.
But yeah, just, oh my god, it's hard to say anything else about this game except I loved it.
Did you play like the first one, or?
No, I had no exposure to Drakengard, to Nier. I had no exposure to Yoko Taro. I had played some Platinum games before this, but...
Do you think that you will play the remake or remaster that came out? I think it's a remaster, right? Yeah.
Probably not.
What? Why not?
The old Nier game's like just more of a traditional RPG, isn't it?
My understanding is they brought in a lot of the combat improvements
Yeah.
from Automata into that one to make it like they revamped some different things to make it fit better with expectations that you might have after playing Automata.
Then maybe, because I will say if this game had traditional JRPG style random battles and combat, I would not care about this game at all.
Yeah.
As good as the story is and as much as I love the story, if I did not have platinum style action to break that up, it would not be able to keep my attention. Because there are times, when the story is kind of slow, you're not really getting fed a whole lot of exciting information, even if you're getting new information. It takes its time to build, which, like I said, when you have those gameplay action breakups, it doesn't feel like as much of a trudge through walls of text or anything like that. But yeah, with traditional RPG combat, I would not want to play that game.
Yeah.
So if the remaster of Nier, if it's got some updated combat, I might have to give it a chance.
Okay. What would you give it out of 10?
10 out of 10, easily.
Ooh.
I mean, it's
a masterpiece.
It's one of those few games I'm going to go back and try to 100% it, if not get as close as I can, doing as much side content as I can, trying to get all the other endings. I'm going to be with this one for a while still.
Wow. Wow. What a great review from Chris. Jeez.
Yeah. I really liked this game.
What about you, Mox?
I love this game too. 10 out of 10 for me as well.
Whoa.
I know. It's jumped into one of my top, probably 3 favorite games of all time.
Are you serious?
Yes. I loved it so much.
All right.
It had a great story, and a story is most important to me.
Yeah. Yep.
I really like when games have a lot of information in the game that I can spend hours reading.
Yes.
But also stuff without the game. So all of those symphonies and there are novels that were written. And also Yoko Taro will talk and answer questions from fans anytime that he's doing an event, and answer people's questions about the plot, and he'll provide additional information, or he'll say nah, that doesn't matter. It's up for you to decide. But there were so few of those that I didn't feel unfulfilled. I love the combat. It's so fluid. I will say the remake of Replicant does not meet the same fluidity of Automata, but it's still very good. And I didn't play what it was originally, so I can't imagine it's the same. It's a lot better. But anyway, oh my gosh, I just love this game so much. I cried so many times when you have to make these sad decisions or sad things happen, and you just are totally stunned by these things that happen to characters that you really care about. It was like Game of Thrones, just nobody's safe. And just, I don't know, everything about it was so good. And just I love the slow, it was like a slow burn of the story. And it was never like an M. Night Shyamalan, what is this? It was wait, did I just read that? That can't be right. Let me read it again. And then you can correlate it with other documents that you read 30 hours ago. And then you're wait, that doesn't make any sense. And then you're kind of just spent Reddit, what does Reddit say about this one item that I don't understand? I just love that kind of storyline, and then the game is great, and the characters were great, and I like the voice acting, and the music's fantastic. I don't have anything to fix. It's a perfect game.
Wow. Austin, what about you?
I really liked it. The music is incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just really, really good.
All of
Although
it.
If I ever hear the credits theme again, I'm going to scream.
What is the thing
Good
that it
God.
says about just a girl? Oh my gosh.
The first time you hear it, it's fine. The second time, it's haha, okay.
Well, the first time is English, second time's in Japanese, or one or the other, and then it's okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
There's
I've had
a
enough of this
5-hour
power ballad.
playlist
Oh,
of Nier
God.
Replicant and Automata music to just listen to while you're doing whatever. And it's great, but that song is in there, I swear to God, 20 times. Just different versions of that song. And it's
26
why am I hearing
times,
this
one for each
again?
ending.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but in general, the music was really good, very unique. It's not a type of music that I have really heard in anything else. Video game wise, it felt like an anime soundtrack.
Yep.
And it felt like an anime story, but it didn't have anime visuals, and it didn't fall into a lot of the traps of anime dialogue style.
Yep.
where it's just like, let's hammer the same point over and over again, or just like really get hung up on some nothing conversation. So it was kind of like it took the best pieces of anime and used those to its advantage.
It was like anime style with like a Western take on storytelling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it keeps its themes below the surface, but there, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like you said, it doesn't beat you over the head with this game is about death and suicide.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you missed a point, like they would make a point clearly, but if you were just not paying attention, like, oh, I skipped through the dialogue or something like that, like they weren't going to just be like, remember when that happened? Let's talk about it again and again to make sure that you really are getting the point.
Yeah.
So as somebody who was paying attention, I appreciated that because that can be really annoying. I thought it was paced really well. There was never a point where I needed to go grind or go like just find side quests or like where do I go for the story. It was just like if I wanted to go cruise through the main story, I could just do that. And it was never just letting me hang out and do nothing for a really long time when I didn't want to be. And part of that was the combat. Like if you were super underleveled, combat might be tough, but it was doable.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could always beat something that was way over your level.
That is true.
Which was in a lot of games, it's like, well, this is just too far above your level, so you can't do damage, and also if it looks at you, you're dead. And this didn't have that problem, which was really good, especially when you're hacking. Like hacking, you could kill anything with hacking, which was awesome.
There was even one boss that is deliberately made to be uber powerful until you like do this one story thing, and then you can fight it and it's weaker, and you can still beat it at its maximum power. How cool is that?
Yeah.
What boss was that?
It's in the ravine. It's where there's a bunch of littered dead machines, and then 2B and 9S are like, why are there's all these machines here? Why are they all dead? And then this huge, tall machine spawns, and then you're like, what is that? And it can kill you if you get so close, but if you try to kill it, you can kill it.
Oh, I killed that.
But there's like a story thing later where you learn that it's like the spirit of all these machines that died down there, and it's like, please kill me, I just want to die. And then when you learn that, it becomes easier. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Huh.
So, I did not love the melee combat. I thought it did fine.
What?
I mean, it just was not... I much preferred being able to hack stuff, and when I had to go back to a melee character, it was just like, geez. I had trouble... Like, enemies will telegraph their attacks, but there would be so much flashy stuff happening on screen that I would usually miss those cues. And so I found myself getting hit a lot, even though usually I'm pretty decent at, like, doing dodge-type mechanics and, like...
What build did you... Like, for your chips, like, what build did you use?
For a good chunk of the game, I wasn't doing anything special with chips, and, like, it was because I just had lost a bunch of them at the beginning of the game, and they didn't give you a lot of the ones that I really wanted to use until about halfway through. That is, you suddenly find your original body and get like the auto heal and things like that. Eventually, I started using a lot of movement speed, some different things to heal myself, like healing myself off of enemy damage, as well as just like auto healing over time. After not being hit for a little bit. You can go and that helped a lot.
You can go and pick up your original body as soon as you are free to move about after that.
And I didn't know that. I didn't understand that.
I just kind of instinctively
you drop your
that.
chips on death. Like, I didn't understand that either until I found that body, and it was just like, oh, whoops. that makes more sense.
Such a cool
but
sorry, keep...
yeah. I mean, I wasn't having trouble with combat, but I just didn't enjoy the melee combat as much as some of their other games. Like, I love playing Bayonetta, but in here, I just was a little... It wasn't Platinum Bliss for me, but it was still fun.
Well,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
The story was really good. My experience with the series before this, I had played part of Drakengard 1.
Oh, an OG fan right here.
Oh.
I had never played any of the other Drakengard games, or Nier Replicant or Gestalt, but I played a chunk of Drakengard 1, and I don't think I don't think I will ever go back and finish that one.
What if they remake
But-
it?
If they remake it and make it good, sure. Overall, this was like there was never a point where I was really just trudging, except for one part when 2B gets infected with the virus and she's trying to get to A2, and you have to.
Well, she's trying to get to an
trudge your way
isolated part of
over.
the
I
city.
remember you were talking about.
Say again.
She's trying to get to an isolated part of the city to not infect anybody.
Sure. She's trying. Yeah. The point is, you slowly lose control of yourself, and enemies are still attacking you, and you can't really fight back. And it's a long segment, and I kept dying at the end of that segment because like some enemy would aggro me at the exact wrong time when I was just about to get out of there, and then they would combo me to death. And the saves don't do anything during that time. Like you have to redo the whole segment again, and I think I did that 5 times. And I was super mad.
Oh.
I was just like furious.
So
and at the end of that segment, you get murdered anyway. It's just like
you had
oh
to get story murdered for it
It's
to
a mercy
count.
kill.
yeah. Oh my
Story
god.
murder.
I was really. That was the only part of the game that I was just like, I am really not having a good time. But other than that, it was just a lot of fun. I would give it an 8 for great.
Ooh.
Both because of
Nice.
the combat wasn't just top tier for me. There was that one segment that really ticked me off. And the PC version had some performance issues. Even with the FAR mod, I was still having some issues, but it did improve it a lot. If you're looking at the footage being shown, this is from before I installed the FAR mod.
Oh.
And it runs mostly okay, but it does have some issues, and it's weird that they just would not pay any attention to this version until a week ago.
Hey, all it took was us playing it for Video Game
Yeah.
Club, you know?
We're so
Right.
back.
But yes, an 8 for great.
Awesome. I would also give it an 8 for great. I have not played many Platinum games. I played some of each Bayonetta 1 and 2, but that's mainly it. And I had like 0 expectations going in. Like nothing. And I played it, and after the first playthrough, I remember being like, okay, like, I kind of see where this is going. And then when I got to play 9S, and I got to do the hacking, because I was not a huge fan of the melee combat, it was fun, but it was, like, kind of simple. I thought, like, I could do the same thing, dodge and hit, and it would be, like, everyone was mostly killable if I was patient enough. But once I got the hacking ability, I was so happy, because that section was so fun for me.
Yes.
Because I really like the bullet hell stuff. I love how they changed the music. Oh my lord!
Oh.
They would do like a chip tune.
Like a Game Boy
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can get that whole soundtrack of just the chip tunes.
Yes.
so good. So it was just great. And although like some of those little hacking mini games got repetitive, they really expanded on them the more you played, especially with the bosses. And they just got so good. And the one where you destroy like the menu screen and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so just so good. Then you had to play as A2, and I was like, yeah, this I want to go back to the hacking. I don't want to play as this person. And I was a bit underleveled because I wasn't doing a bunch of side quests. I also didn't really upgrade my pod at all. I never found like all the materials, and I'm really curious.
Yeah, I never had enough material to upgrade my pod.
Yeah, I'm curious like how that would have changed the speed of my playthrough, because I used the pod a lot. Like I heavily relied on it. I did the one that's like a machine gun, and then I did the rockets, which helped me defeat a lot of the enemies. I got hung up in when you go to the desert with A2, you have to defeat these like 2 giant guys, and you have to do something else after that. And I kept dying.
Oh, dude, that was an annoying fight.
Yeah, that was just really rough. And I didn't like it. The story, I like it, but I'm just not really big into these like sci-fi existence,
What?
humanity stories. They just don't really. I'm more of like a fantasy fan. So
Boo.
I know I'm terrible.
I like both. They both have different merits.
They're both like I can see why people like them. I just prefer fantasy. mainly. I don't know why.
Now, see, if you go to the bookstore and you want to get a book, the sci-fi and the fantasy books are in the same section because it's always sci-fi fantasy.
I know. Yeah, and I
It's
and
weird. It's interesting.
and I get rid of that sci-fi crap and I get fantasy.
Oh, wow, okay.
You don't like Ender's Game? Damn.
What's wrong with Ender's Game?
You don't like Star... Well,
there's.
Ender's Game, there's a lot of periphery problems, but...
Chris is about to go off right now.
No,
this is
I know
Nier
my
Automata.
place. I know my place. Everybody who knows already knows. I don't need to...
Yep.
I don't
And
need to expand.
I'm one of the people that would consider Star Wars fantasy instead of sci-fi as well.
What about Star Trek? It's so much better than
Star Trek I would consider sci-fi, but Star Trek I can get into because I don't know. It's good. I don't know.
Because you're a hypocrite. Okay.
I am a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't prefer science fiction. That's just my preference. I don't know. Anyway, I still really liked it. I agree with Austin. The music is really good. And I really like the combat, the ship combat and the hacking combat quite a bit. So,
Yes. I forgot to talk about the ship combat. It was really cool that they could just flip different genres at will, and it was all just really good.
Yeah, it never felt out of place or forced. It was just like, oh, cool.
So yeah, 8 for great. Is there anything that anyone wants to add about how they feel about the game or the game before we wrap up here?
Play it. It's so good.
Play
Yeah, I mean...
Honestly, no matter what kind of gamer you are, I think this is a game that you're going to find something to enjoy.
I agree.
It's going to be one of those games that gets talked about 10, 15, 20 years down the line of, oh, have you gone back and played Nier? Yeah, still holds up all these years later. I could see what everybody was talking about. Everybody should play Nier. You know.
2017 was considered like one of the best years in gaming in a long time, and Nier is always one of the reasons cited for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be one, like, alongside stuff like Ocarina of Time, Half-Life. You know, it's Nier Automata is going to be in that same conversation at the top of what gaming can be for forever, as far as I'm concerned.
I can see that for sure. All right, well, that was side quest number 2. If you enjoyed side quest and want to participate in the next one, we had a vote in our Discord, and it is going to be The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, the HD or SD version, whichever one you want to play.
But 2 weeks from now, we'll be playing Fez.
Yeah, so right now, start up Fez, and in 2 weeks from now, we'll be discussing that on August 1st. Wind Waker, you have till October 10th. It sounds like so far away.
Oh.
So I guess it kind of is.
It is until you gotta fish up those Triforce pieces.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Don't you love sailing?
Yeah.
Love it. The other thing, if people were wondering why there wasn't a vote for Fez, it's because before, if you're like kind of late to paying attention to Video Game Club, Austin had nominated some games, and Fez tied with what was the game? Do you remember?
Sonic
Adventure. Yeah, it tied with Sonic Adventure, and Austin was like, you know what? They tied. I'll just pick Fez for my next one, and we'll call it a day.
I submitted a last-minute vote to make Fez win over Sonic, and yet still had to play Sonic.
Your vote, apparently, it was either not in time or somebody else outvoted you at the same time, because it was definitely a tie.
Yeah,
when we finished up.
But thank you everyone for joining. Again, just as a reminder, you can catch us here on twitch.tv/BombchuTV every 2 weeks at 2 Eastern, with the next stream being on August 1st, where we will discuss Fez. And if you can't make the live session, don't worry, it'll be up on YouTube. Oh, Lena, thank you so much for the bits.
I feel like I've heard you say it in that exact tone.
Maybe.
You could take the clip and just like lay it on top of each other.
Should just have a button that plays that sound clip.
He's got a soundboard, yeah, just boop.
Now, before we leave, Austin, Chris, anything Bombchu's working on? I think, Austin, you did the most recent bundle review by yourself.
Oh.
No.
Hey.
Chris did 3 of the games.
Oh, yeah, that's
on
right.
there.
Sorry, Chris. I forgot. That's
How
the one with
dare
the
you.
bee simulator, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, I've been gone, so my whole time thing is all messed up.
Gonna be gone if you'd say something like that again.
But yeah, the newest Humble review is out. Go check it out. Control is up too for Video Game Club if you missed that, so go check that out. That'll be really cool.
What a great game.
Mox, any plugs you want to make? It sounds like you just want people to play this game. That's your plug.
Yes, and play Replicant 0.23, whatever the numbers are. Because it's so cute, there's farming.
I'll play it if you can get all the numbers right now.
No, that's not fair.
Well, looks like I'm not gonna play it then. Should have been more prepared.
Maybe a future side
Yeah,
quest.
maybe.
Okay.
Austin, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Mox, thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, I'm really glad that you're back from your hiatus. Thank you so much for being here.
And it's a pleasure, as always.
I'm Tyler. This was Video Game Club, episode 28, side quest episode number 2, Nier Automata, whatever you want to call it. And we're out. I'd like to give a special shout out to Michael Slater, Blake Harms, and all of our patrons over on Patreon. Thank you, and thank everyone for watching.